Angel and the crew are waiting to hear from you, so get those comments in.
Well, a very good evening, Palace fans across the globe. Welcome to this season finale Red and Blue Review podcast with me, Ian Noble, this evening. We have got some show for you tonight for sure. Of course, no win in the opening 8 games, 3 points out of a possible 24. We finished the season with 8 unbeaten, record 53 points in the Premier League. We're FA Cup winners. We went deep into the Carabao Cup as well. We've qualified for the Europa League. It's been a pretty good time. Joining me on screen tonight, we have a motley crew all the way from Egypt. Nick Philpott. Hello, mate. Resplendent in yellow.
Good evening, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, yeah. Welcome to you. Paul Gear, how are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, end of another season.
Absolutely. I've got an extra shirt up behind you. That's fantastic. We'll come to that in a minute or two. Yasmin, how are you, Yaz?
Good, thanks, Ian. Bit wind burnt, but okay.
What? Windswept?
Wind burnt. I think
wind burnt?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. All right, okay, fine. It's really good. Tim Richards, Fab Tim, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Good evening, Tim. And last but by no means least, our Ireland's finest, Fergus Tid. Hello, Ferg.
Evening all. Evening, everybody. Yeah, still on cloud 9, Ian. Still
Jolly
buzzing.
Good, jolly good. Well, as you can see, guys, we've got a great panel tonight, and that's not all. We've got a special guest coming on later as well. And good evening to each and every one of you in the chat. I'm going to come to Nick first because Nick, you're not going to stay on the whole show. You're just going to pop in for a brief appearance. You are actually in Egypt on holiday, so you've gone above the call of duty. We think that's fantastic. Keep it like that. We think your signal and your sound is better than when you're in Coulsdon.
Have you finished bloody talking yet? Are you going to shut up at some point? Good, lad. Okay.
There we go.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to everybody wherever you're watching in the world. And first of all, before I do start, that is a live view from here in Hurghada. I am also very conscious of the fact that we've got to touch on this at the top of the show. I am aware of what's gone on in Liverpool tonight, and I'm sending our thoughts and prayers to everybody involved. If you haven't seen it on the news, tragic news, and I've been watching it over here in Egypt. So listen, very quickly, all I wanted to do was jump on, as it's the last show of the season. We've done, I don't know how many shows we've done. It's obviously more than 38 because of the cup runs and everything else. But I needed, on behalf of the whole team, to come on and say to each and every one of you that has appeared on the show this year, Ferg, Paul, Teresa, Aaron, Lucy in the background, Greg in the background, especially Nigel Crouch in the background, and to you, Ian Noble, a massive thank you to everything you've done for the show in my absence when I haven't been available or I've been working or whatever. This show is nothing without you guys, okay? This show, Tim, Ferg, Yaz, you've been a revelation this season, I've got to tell you. Long may it continue. You stay on this show. You ain't going nowhere, lady. And that's an order, okay? To each and every one of the panellists that have contributed to the show this year, thank you so much. To everybody that's watched the show this season, thank you for all your comments and your contacts in the chat, coming up to us at the games and saying how much you enjoy what we do. I can't do it without you. I'm supposed to be the face of the show, but I can't do it without these people around me. Okay, and this is the living, breathing proof of it because I'm on holiday now. So well done to each and every one of you. Thank you. And we're going to do it all again next season with one difference. We're going to do it in Europe as well. Okay, and Ian, your stats you read out at the top of the show about the success of the season, you forgot to say that we took 6 points off Brighton, and those 6 points stopped them qualifying for Europe. The fact that we won at Wembley stopped them qualifying for Europe. Okay, so you've got to get all of that, all together. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and this wonderful team, massive thank you to you all.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for that speech. Oscar-like, I think. Brilliant. Listen, it's not the end of the show, though. It sounds like you're bowing out by that speech. We've got a big show for you tonight, guys. Got lots to talk about. Of course, we're going to touch on the Wolves game. Nick, are you going to stay with us, or are you going to...
No, I'm going to love you and leave. I'm going to love you and leave you. There's an all-inclusive free bar down there with my name on it. Good night, everyone.
We'll see you later, mate. We'll see you later. This evening, guys, we're going to talk about the Wolves game. Of course, we need to talk about the Wolves game. We're going to talk about Liverpool yesterday, all that went on there, and lots did go on there, of course. We're going to talk about today, the bus parade and the party on the pitch, and the end of season awards. Fantastic. we've got goal of the season, we've got player of the season, we've got our end of season stuff around Super 6 and Fantasy Premier League and all kinds of stuff. So stay with us. It's going to be a busy show. So if we don't get to you in the chat and say too much about your comments, forgive us in advance for that. So I'm going to come straight to you, Paul, to talk about the Wolves game first and foremost. So this was last Tuesday night. It seems like an age ago now, doesn't it? You know, it seems like eons ago, Wolves.
Yeah, well, obviously a big week, so this was probably the least important game of the week. But it was thanks to the events of Saturday and our glorious win. This game turned into a party. If we'd have lost on the cup final, this would have been one of the flattest occasions of all time. But thankfully, we didn't. We were turning up as the FA Cup winners to this game, so everyone was up for it in a big party mood. And Oliver went fairly strong. He rested a couple. Obviously, we knew Mark and Adam weren't going to play because of their injuries in the cup final. But he brought SA in for his first start. He brought Eddie in to give Mateta a rest. And yeah, other than that, it was a pretty strong lineup. So yeah, the game started.
Hang on, before you go on to that, Paul, I was surprised to see Joel Ward start. Delighted, but surprised to see Joel Ward start. And it was about Joel Ward, wasn't it? The evening, really, overall, you know, especially the end of it as well, which we'll come to, I'm sure. But were you surprised to see Joel Ward in the starting lineup?
Yeah, I probably was, to be fair. I mean, when you think about it, everyone knew it was going to be his last home game, and obviously a bit of a party game. And obviously, there was nothing on the game, so he could afford to play him. So I thought we might bring him on and give him a sort of a send off there, but starting was a bit of a surprise. But he came in and did well.
Yeah, and Chilwell as well, of course, started, which was, maybe a little bit of a surprise to some, but maybe not to others. So we kick off and away you go. Tell us about the goals. Let's talk about the goals quickly.
Yeah, there's not much. There was not much to talk about other than the goals, and there were quite a few of those. So yeah, the first we let in a goal from a corner, which I know Oliver never likes doing, and we don't do too often, to be honest. We're on the flip ups on the screen most weeks, conceding the fewest from that. But it bobbled around, went to the far post, he headed it back, and their centre back headed it. Eddie cleared it off the line, but it was about 2 foot over, so we couldn't really argue with that. So yeah, they took the lead, but we showed really great character, really, for a game that after what had happened on the Saturday before, I was expecting us to lose, to be honest. I thought they were all still hungover, but they actually came back into the game and we scored a really good goal. Got the ball down to Eze on the SA on the left-hand side. He did really well to beat his men, cut it back, and Eddie hit a shot in the bottom corner. So good for him to get on the score sheet again. So 1-1 very quickly. And then very quickly again, we were 2-1 up, where Munoz kept the ball in really well on the right, played Sarr down the side, and he put a lovely cross in and the back post, as you see there. Nketiah was there just to convert like every good number 9 should. So he had a good first half there. So yeah, 2-1 at half time. We were, as I say, quite pleasantly surprised that it was an open game and a good game. So came out second half and we extended our lead really quickly. So got a free kick on the edge of the box. A few people want to take them, but Chilwell obviously got the nod, and he hit the wall and it deflected quite cruelly.
Touch of fortune, wasn't there about it?
It was a very fortunate goal, yeah. I mean, it's a big deflection, sent the keeper the other way. He scrambled back but couldn't get it. So 3-1 up, and thinking we were coasting. But we then contrived to concede another goal from a corner, which is most unlike us. Ball came in, Strand Larson got rose above everyone and managed to loop it over Dino, which was a pretty poor goal. And I think, again, on any other week, I think Oliver would have been raging. But who knows? He may well have been after seeing. I must admit, I said at the game at the time, I really like seeing and at Liverpool yesterday how much he wants us to win, even games like this, which are really nothing games. He's desperate to win. He doesn't like seeing mistakes. He doesn't want our standards to drop, as he made pretty clear yesterday, and that's great to see. And the players hopefully will take heed of that, which is good. But yeah, so 3-2, and then sort of the big moment for Joe Ward came. So the ball went up, calling his number. The ground obviously rose as one to give him a ovation. He went and did his little kneel on the centre spot, and you can see quite clearly it was pretty emotional for him. He was in tears. He hugged pretty much every player on the way out, handed over the captain's armband. And it was a fitting send-off for him, to be honest. So you don't get many people these days who stay at a club for 13 years. And he's been the model professional at Palace, let's be honest. He's had seasons where he didn't play. Wan-Bissaka came in for a season, he didn't moan, he's not putting toys out of the pram or anything. He's stayed professional, and he gets back in the team, and he's never let us down. And it was a good send-off for him. And he got another one today, and it was great to see him get his moment, which was good.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, let's just dwell on that for a moment then. I haven't asked you to prep this one, guys, so maybe a little bit unfair. Yes, have you got a favourite Joel Ward moment on the spot here?
No, not on the spot. I haven't.
Do you know, I'm going to help you. Go, Ferg, what's your favourite Joel Ward moment?
The header in the playoff final off the line.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for that.
Yeah, good shout.
Brilliant.
Good shout. Yeah, I'm going to go with the headed goal at Chelsea away. When was that? 2015, 16, something like that, Paul, wasn't it?
Oh, the diving
header. You know, that was pretty special. But I think, Ferg, I think you're right. I think the header off the line against Watford in the playoff final was probably the one that is best remembered for. And without that, we might not even be here having this conversation today. So what a great guy. And we said about last week about the cup final. If you haven't seen his speech in the dressing room at Wembley, make sure you go online and find it and watch it. And pretty special moment. So Joe Ward goes off. It's 3-2 at the time, Paul, and he brings the big guns on, doesn't he?
Yeah, eventually Mateta and Eze, obviously, but on the bench, obviously they had a long running match on the week before, and the emotion of all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was pretty good. They had a bit of rest, but they came on. Wolves nearly had nearly got an equaliser, a volley from about 12 yards that Dino did really well to tip over. But then we finished the game off with a few minutes left. Mateta won the ball in midfield, gave it to Devaney, who played it forward, played Eze through, and I mean, the man he's on a confident run of form, so he runs straight at the defence, cuts across the box, and then reverses the shot back into the bottom corner for a nice goal. And 7 goals in 6 games, so 6 consecutive games he'd scored in, which is a pretty immense way to end the season, to be honest. And with his goals, obviously in the cup final and the semi-final, I mean, it shows what a big-time player he is. I mean, he stepped up at the end of the season. He's produced big moments, and there was a rich reward for him to score that goal. So yeah, game finished 4-2 win. We got to 52 points, so we broke the 50-point barrier, which was another one of our targets at the start of the season. So really, a great night, really, all round. As I say, as I said earlier, I wasn't expecting much from the game after the cup final, but yeah, to come back and win your last home game, they deserved their lap of honour after the match, which was probably not the best lap of honour, but that's another story.
Okay, we'll come to the lap of honour in a minute, but it was quite a night, wasn't it? Really, when you think how they must have partied after the cup final, and he made the changes. So there were players like, as we said at the top of the show, there was Esse and Nketiah and Chilwell and Wardy that aren't used to playing. He made the changes, and we still beat Wolves. I don't know about you guys, but Tim, let me ask you this and bring you in here. Do you think that Tuesday night was it a little bit of a foretaste for what a Europa League night might be like, where we play under the lights in front of a full Selhurst Park with a slightly understrength side because we're saving for the Premier League at the weekend? Did you get a sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, Wendy was actually with me for that game, and we were sat right by the dugouts. She loved it, and even she said she couldn't believe how well they played with the changes, considering what happened on Saturday. And just to pick up on what Paul said, I spent a lot of the game actually watching the managers because we were that close. And I was thinking, here's Glasner, he's won the FA Cup, we're getting our record points total, and to see how animated he was, 4-2 up, a few minutes to go, still getting annoyed, still getting interested, I thought was amazing. And what was even funnier was his reaction to the Wolves manager when Eze scored his. The Wolves manager lost it, and Glasner was just there looking at him, just laughing and just shaking his head. And it was brilliant to see, So as much as the other guys hope you're not leaving, getting him to sign a new contract, I think, is probably the most important thing for us going ahead.
Yeah, and I think he said already this week that he's looking forward to next season. So that's encouraging. Fergus, then Yaz.
I was just going to say, he made 6 changes, and I think we still outplayed Wolves. And the interview before the game, the Wolves manager was saying, this is where we want to be next season. This would be a good yardstick for how good we are. And I thought, well, you were playing against half a Palace team, and we still outplayed you. We still scored 4 goals against you. So that goes to show how the depth in squad that we've got. We've got a very good first team squad now. I wouldn't call them reserves or substitutes. They're all, they're all really decent players now.
Yeah. I mean, the squad's certainly deeper. I still think we're 1 or 2 short for a Europa League campaign.
Yeah.
Yes, would you go along with that?
Yeah, definitely. We need a few more. And I just want to say, I don't think that Glasner will allow us to have a weaker team for any game. I think it was a bit different on Tuesday, given what had happened. But from what he said today as well, how he's got his eyes on 4 trophies next season, he's not going to let that happen. But I also wanted to say how brilliant everybody was in the stands. It was such a great atmosphere, like a party kind of atmosphere, and it was just great.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think it's one thing like last Tuesday night, but I think if over a campaign where you've got 7 extra matches between now and the end of January, because we don't play in the second round of the Carabao, those 7 extra games is going to put pressure on that squad. And yeah, I think most of the time he'll want to play his full strength side, but I think there will be occasions when he has to rotate a little bit. Paul.
I think the biggest positive of Tuesday, to be honest, and he confirmed this today, is he now knows the English for "give us a wave." There was a very funny moment the other day where the whole crowd for a minute or two were beckoning him to give us a wave, and he was either we all thought he was ignoring us or he was too into the game, and then he turned around and half of the main stand were basically waving at him and telling him to wave, and he suddenly turned around, acknowledged everyone, and showed he didn't understand it, but he said today that he's ready for that now, so that was great.
Very good. Tim, were you encouraging him to give him a wave? You were standing there behind the dugout, giving him a wave.
Yeah, that was quite funny, actually. I think Wendy even waved back, which I thought was quite entertaining. But there you go. But what I did just want to say is I think also we need to talk about at some point Parrish, because I, amongst many others, have given him a hard time over his comments when we got promoted. Like, we have to improve, we've got to go to the next level. He's got us to the next level. You have to say decisions he's taken where we haven't always agreed with him have panned out. But what it does do, it puts pressure on him now, because now we have reached the next level. Him and the owners are going to have to back the manager. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. I think they will. That's my own personal opinion. Right, guys. Anything else to say about Tuesday night? We've talked about Lap of Honour. There it is. There's Wardy coming out with the FA Cup. That was good. I thought they came out quite quickly. We were worried they were going to be for ages, but they came out reasonably quickly. And it was good to see the speeches on the pitch and the emotional send off for Joel Ward on Tuesday night. Let's come now to Liverpool yesterday. Fresh in the memory. Of course, we go to the champions on the final day in their own backyard. They won the league a few weeks ago. We won the FA Cup last week. Oh, look at that. There we are. All 3 shirts resplendent before kick-off with the cop in the background. Thanks. We'll take that off the screen now. Thank you, Nigel. So Paul, you drove up. I took the train. I was awake for 22 hours yesterday. I think you made the right call, mate.
Yeah, well, I know what the train service is like on a Sunday bank holiday, that when there was due to be a strike. So we made a decision quite early, to be honest, to not risk it and drive. And yeah, it panned out quite well in the end. So yeah, we got home a lot earlier than you.
Yeah, but I met you outside the ground yesterday as we were queuing up to get in with all the red smoke flares flying around us and everything. So, and the program's at £7 a pop, and you had a whole handful of them. So you obviously doing a deal with the programs down south. Let's talk about the lineup and then let's get into this game.
So yeah, obviously it was a party atmosphere yesterday. I think Yaz, Ian, everyone who was there can attest to the fact that I don't think we've ever shaken so many Liverpool fans' hands and been congratulated and thanked for beating Manchester City. So it was great. They were very generous in their thanks for that, which was great. But yeah, looking at his team on Tuesday, it was clear he wanted to play probably a strong team on the final game, and he did. He basically played the strongest team we had, bar the 2 we knew were out. Obviously, we knew Adam was out for the season, and we might, although it was a suggestion Mark might have made yesterday, the fact that Thomas Tuchel didn't put him in the England squad and said that the specialist had said he couldn't do that, obviously ruled him out of this game. So yeah, we went pretty much full strength up there, which was great to see if we can get a result on the final day of the season. And obviously, yeah, as the match started, it was quite a strange one, because we gave Liverpool the guard of honour, which most teams do now for the league winners, but they walked through us and then created their own guard for us. So it was a double guard of honour, which was actually yeah, as someone said on the radio today, they probably wouldn't have done it to Man City or Arsenal or or Man United. So the fact that they did it to us to recognise our achievement was quite an impressive thing to see, actually. So yeah, both teams obviously were being nice to each other. Both fans were being nice to each other. And the game started, and there was a lack of intensity. It was not a blood and thunder full-on Premier League game. Not to say both teams didn't want to try and win, but I think both teams probably, you could argue, were a bit slack and a bit off it. Liverpool went to Ibiza a couple of weeks ago, and as we say, I think a lot of our team probably weren't professionally rested. They got 2 days off, didn't they, for making the 50 points? So they probably hadn't trained much before the game. So so the game started that way. But even so, Tyrick won the ball back in the middle of the pitch, played a lovely through ball to Sarr, who found space in the box, and he very calmly slotted it past Alisson into the goal at the Kop end, which is always nice to score at the Kop end. Obviously, the Palace fans were pleased with that, celebrated that. Probably not with as much vigour as we normally would, but we'll come on to why that might have been later on. But yeah,
he had a lot of room, Paul, didn't he, in the box? He almost
he
had
did. It was terrible
you know?
defending, to be fair. He was stood on the edge of the 18-yard box and no one near him. So but he took the ball from Tyrick well, and say it was a cool, calm finish. 1-0 up, and we had chances to go. Mateta, I think, put the ball in the net. I think he did when he was offside, or he certainly then hit the bar when he was offside as well. So obviously we're at the other end, so we can't see how close they were. But we didn't just sit back. We were trying to do that. And obviously Liverpool were trying to attack. They didn't want to lose there. They've not won since they actually won the league. So they wanted to try and get one win before. And there was one very dangerous moment when Salah got the ball. He looped it up over the defence and onto Diaz, who hit a shot on the spin. And I don't know how. I don't think Dean Henderson knows how he kept it out. He managed to try and close his legs because it was going through, and it hit his heel and went wide. It was a great save. It was, as I say, I thought it was goal all the way. So it was great. So there was chances. To say, not the most competitive game in the world, but both teams were trying to win, which is good. So we were 1-0 at half time, and probably worthy of that, to be fair. Came out the second half. Liverpool started putting some pressure on, and Dean had to make a couple of good saves. And then probably the first talking point of the second half was the ball broke loose and went into their half, and Daichi Kamada got there just before their last man, Gravenberch, who'd gone back to centre back. They'd taken Konate off. Konate and Van Dijk basically had Mateta in their pocket most of the match. Now, whether that was just because they're very good or whether Mateta just wasn't having can
I just come in there? What did you think? Let's bring someone else in. Fergus, you watched the game yesterday. What did you think of Mateta's performance yesterday?
I thought he was doing all right. Like Paul alluded to, he'd scored a goal, it was just offside. He'd hit the crossbar, so he was, he was in the right place. You've got to remember, we're playing Liverpool Anfield, so we're not going to get a plethora of chances. He took one, it was offside. The other one hit the crossbar, but no, I thought he was all right. It's been an exhausting week, I imagine, for all of the players, and he does probably most of the running up front because he's on his own, isn't he? So,
Tim, do you agree with Ferg? Do you think he did all right?
Yeah, I don't think, like I said, considering how the games they've had, but not only the games they've had, the type of game and how mentally exhausting as well as physically exhausting it would have been. So, no, I thought he did fine, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the players that probably was off his game the most. Yaz is nodding. And we'll come to what Glasner said at the end in a minute, but I think he could have been one of the ones that he was talking about. Yaz, are you with me on this? You're nodding, so I presume you're
right. He wasn't great. We did remember in the second half when obviously they're playing towards us, we could see how much he was being manhandled by Liverpool.
Yeah.
So that made some sense, but he didn't really do anything, I don't think.
Yeah. I was quite pleased when they took Konate off, Paul, because I thought he was having quite a good game. Why do you think they did that?
Yeah, they were 1-0 down. They needed to be more attacking. It's a tough assignment facing those two, let's be honest, for JP anyway. So, it's nice that many a striker has had a starved of a game up there. But so, just talking of in pocket, and I thought Tyrick Mitchell had a superb game, which Glasner to at the end. He kept Mo Salah quiet pretty much all the game, bar for one moment at the end, which wasn't really his fault. He did. So going back, they'd obviously brought Gravenberch on. They'd taken Konate off. They were 1-0 down. They were pushing for the goal. They brought on two strikers and taken off, I think, a midfielder and a defender. So they were going for it and moved Gravenberch to the back. And he took Kamada out on the halfway line, and it's a red card all day long. I mean, Darren England got that right. He didn't do too bad yesterday, Darren England, which again, something I don't often say.
It's the second time this season he's
I know it's the second time I've said that on this show, but I'm sure it'll be the last. But yeah, he's last man, clean through. If that's not a red card, nothing is. So yeah, we were suddenly a man up, and we were pushing them forward. Sarr got into two really good positions and played two of the most shocking balls he's played all season. Whether that's just mental fatigue after a long season, who knows? But yeah, we and then Eddie had I think Sarr had a shot at the back post which was saved. Eddie had a shot which he probably should have done better with, and I think that's what Glasner was alluding to at the end. I mean, there was a lot of. We weren't clinical at all yesterday. We got in some really good positions and really didn't make the most of them. And we should have put Liverpool to bed. And obviously, when you don't do that, you know what happens. We gave away the ball. SA gave away the ball. He was trying to take people on down by the corner, which is probably what a winger should do. Obviously, he lost the ball and then a couple of more phases of play, but it did eventually lead to their goal, which saw SA pretty much get hooked straight away. Now, I was watching him come off, and Glasner didn't do anything to him. Just let him walk by him, didn't acknowledge him or anything. So I thought at the time it was probably something that he was not happy with him, something to do with the goal. But yeah, so 1-1, probably a fair result at the end of the game for two teams who were really just wanting a win just for last day pride, but they were more worried about getting their trophy at Liverpool, and we were just hopefully trying to finish the game off. But as I say, it was quite interesting to see, as we'll come to now, Glasner's comments at the end of the game. I think it was quite interesting. Obviously, as we said earlier, he doesn't like losing. He doesn't like giving points away, which is great to see. And he wanted to win yesterday, which was great. And I think yesterday he took the time. I think if you're going to have a go at the team, yesterday was the day to do it. He's praised them all week. And I think yesterday was very clever. A reminder just before next season that we've set standards, guys, and we're not going to let that slip no matter where we go. So I think he chose the right time, and he didn't name names. He obviously had issues with a few of the players. And I think it was quite good for him to basically show that, look, it doesn't matter what we do, we're going to try and win every game. And next season, guys, I'm not going to accept people not being fully on it. So I didn't mind what he said. I thought it was quite, good time to do it.
Yeah, and he made it clear, didn't he, that he wasn't happy with some players, and SA was clearly one of them. And he was asked specifically why he took him off, having brought him on, and he very diplomatically answered the question by saying, "Remain SA knows why I took him off. You know, he knows. I don't have to explain that to everybody. So you know, he had an issue with him. But I think the Sarr." When he got through on the right, and I think there were two or three in the middle. I think Hughes was one of them, and all he had to do was square the ball across the box, and it was a shocking ball, well beyond the far post. And we're thinking, oh my goodness, how has he managed to do that when he's been so good all season? So the game's 1-1. One stat that we didn't talk about so far is the fact that we haven't had a corner in each of these two games, which was bizarre, and I can't remember when that's happened before. But we defended 20 corners. All right, we conceded a couple of goals, but we didn't have one single corner in either game this last week. Before we move on, Yaz, you were with me in the away end yesterday. It wasn't great in the away end yesterday. Tell us why that was, Yasmin.
Yeah, so I did notice there were quite a lot of people I didn't know when we were just in the bar and all of that. But then when we were in our seats, it transpired there were like hundreds of Liverpool fans in our end.
Dozens anyway, yeah.
Well, I mean, what annoys me is we all knew that Liverpool fans were offering huge sums of money for our tickets. But I've got to say to anybody that did sell their ticket that you should have your season ticket cancelled and like never again, because I would rather that ground was that end was half empty with us all, supporting the same side than to have what we had. Ian had to move his seat because he got annoyed. Quite rightly, they weren't even hiding it. They had shirts, scarves. They were getting their phones out every 5 minutes. They were singing blimmin' Steven Gerrard songs. I mean, it was ridiculous. And we could have had arguments for the whole match if we'd chosen to try and take them on. And I just think if you were the Palace fan that did that, or one of the Palace fans that did that, you should be absolutely ashamed and you should be nowhere near this club.
Yeah, Yasmin spoken. Clearly, they got the tickets from somewhere. If you sold your ticket on, shame on you, really. But it was one of those strange occasions, wasn't it, when the demand... I guess I could sort of begin to understand, I'd never do it myself, why some people might respond and sell their ticket for big money, but it shouldn't be allowed. And somehow they might get found out. So watch this space. So it was a bit of a disappointment, and it had a bit of a flat feeling in the away end as well. And we couldn't really be heard because the noise actually is the loudest I've ever known Anfield. The noise was loud. Give them credit where it's due. Their support in the other sort of 7/8 of the ground was fantastic, or more than that. Big percentage of the fan base, obviously in that ground, were Liverpool fans yesterday, making a lot of noise, and fair play to them for that, for their celebrations. We didn't hang around for the presentation. I was off there and jumping on the train to get back to London. Okay, so that's that game done. Anything else that anybody wants to add on that? To say that here we are, we're 12th place, 12th again. Who gives we've won the FA Cup. 53 points. Thanks, Nigel, very much indeed for the league table there. So, and here we are. This is the points record, 53 points. And we're going to talk about points at the end of the show if we've got time. Predictions that we had earlier in the season. But there we have it, 53 points for this season, the highest yet since we've been back in the Premier League. Look at all those seasons we've been back since that playoff win against Watford all those years ago. Okay, so I want to move on to today because we've got to talk about today and everything that went on at Selhurst Park today. It was a great party atmosphere. And Nigel, do we have a special guest with us in the background that you can bring on? He's Tomo, Tom Mellowcroft. Good evening, Tom. How are you?
Evening. I think special was a bit too far. I'm a guest, but thanks for letting me join you guys.
You're very welcome, Tom, and thanks for coming on the show. Now, the reason we've invited you on the show is that Eberechi Eze was wearing a special top on the parade today. So there we have an aerial view of the coaches at the top of Park Road, turning in to the Holmesdale Road there before the party on the pitch. And Eze had a very special shirt on. And there he is at is that the training ground? Is it?
The academy. That was on Friday night.
Yeah. Well, what night was that?
That was Friday night.
That was Friday night. Okay. And he's looking at the shirt there, and you're going to tell us about what he said at the time. And then there's a quick picture here of today, so we can see what he was looking like. That's him enjoying the occasion, wearing the shirt. You've come on. Tell us a little bit how Eze got on his shirt and why it was special.
So it was a bit mad. So a good friend of mine, Charlie, does a lot of work with Ebbs. And funny enough, just a bit of context, Charlie was a Liverpool fan, but over the last couple of years, I think he's the only person who's ever converted from a Liverpool fan to a Palace fan. And he was in the Champions League final when they won it. And he said watching Palace win the FA Cup was miles better than that. And he was in the stadium for that. So anyway, so over the last couple of years, Charlie's become more and more of a Palace boy. And he was at the Wolves game on Tuesday with us. And we'd had a couple of beers as we were walking to the stadium. And we were just talking about things Ebbs could do sort of this week and over the summer. And I think I threw in, I was like, it'd be good. Like wearing a retro kit, like on the parade on Monday would look amazing. And he was like, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. Anyway, I didn't think anything else of it. And then Wednesday calls me and it's like, Tomo, I've spoken to Ed. Like, where can we get a retro kit from? And I was like, well, I've got a remake from a few years back, which I think I've got on today. So we can borrow that. I said, let me ask around. I'm going to know someone who's got an original one. So a few like different WhatsApp groups. So I reached out. It was like, boys, has anyone got like an old school 1990 shirt? There's a good reason for it, but ideally the one worn in the final. So a few people were like, yeah, I've got one. And then my mate Paul messaged and was like, yeah, I've got my granddad's shirt from the final. Unfortunately, Paul's granddad died a few months ago. And he's like, I'm sure he'd love you to use it if you can. And I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, I've just got to go and pick it up from the gravestone though, because it's been there for the FA Cup weekend. So they put it on his grandfather's gravestone for the weekend. Which was really special, and they'd put it in a frame. And I was like, oh no, don't be silly. And he was like, no, he'd love it. He'd love to be involved in it. So I called Charlie and said, look, I've got one. Here's the situation. And he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So he then was like, yeah, if we can use it, Ebbs would love to wear it. And then it sort of escalated where he calls me like 15 minutes later and was like, actually, would first of all, I was just invited to go down to the academy and hand it over because Ebbs was doing some work with his foundation. And he calls me 15 minutes later and was like, actually, do you want to bring the family down and we'll do some intros and explain a bit about the history of, like Paul's granddad, who's first started going to the Palace in the 1930s, and then his dad. So the Darville family, there was Paul's dad, Anthony, Paul himself, and Paul's daughter, Sienna. So with the shirt, it was, I guess, like 4 generations of Palace fans almost there.
Brilliant.
And I can't speak highly enough of Ebbs as a person. Like, I'm guessing we all know he's going to be a legend now. He scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final. So I think for most, he's going to be on your Mount Rushmore of Palace players. But I think, like, having met him, like, how genuine and humble he is, like the interest like he had in the club in general, like I think there was a lot that maybe this club haven't quite, or the players hadn't quite realised just how special we are as a club and a fan base in the history in terms of going back. Like, I think they knew we'd never won an FA Cup, but I think they'd all sort of thought we'd won something. But when we were like explaining that, no, like this is it, this is all we've ever wanted, like I think really sort of like humbled him. And then when
Tom, so you, on the Friday night at the training ground, you were giving Ebbs this backstory about the shirt, where you got it from, Granddad's grave during the cup final, and we're taking it off the grave, and he was examining it there in that picture, and he was interested, wasn't he, in what you were telling him?
Yeah, genuinely, like he was asking questions. Like we must have, I mean, he kept us waiting, to be fair, so he could work on his timekeeping. But he must have been, he was running, as I said, his foundation. He had loads of kids. He was running a 1v1 tournament. And he must have given us 20, 25 minutes for us just to talk and indulge us. He let me wear his FA Cup winners medal, which was a pretty special moment for me in all of this. But yeah, just like an amazing guy, like genuinely interested in like everything had to say, like couldn't like pose for enough pictures and spend time talking to the family. And I think they all felt very moved by it. And then obviously we got on to today, and we see him on the bus, and he's got it on. And I think it was very like generous, because obviously the club had those shirts printed for the players. I don't know if you will notice that everyone else on the bus had a specially made T-shirt for the game. Yeah, the club let him wear, and that Charlie has spoken to the club yesterday just to check. It was like we teed that up almost.
Absolutely. We're seamless on this podcast.
I can tell. And but yeah, so in the club were like, no, it's all good. So again, it was very surreal, sort of seeing him on the bus wearing this shirt. We were having a bit of a joke on Friday, because obviously it's a 35-year-old shirt now, and I think we're telling him to make sure Hughesy doesn't spill any champagne or beer on it. But Paul's dad, Anthony, was like, no, my dad would like it. I want that coming back with beer and champaine on it. So don't worry, as long as we get it back.
So you're hoping to get it back off him? Is that?
I'm gonna catch up with Charlie. Hopefully Ebbs again, but I've probably had my quota. I saw Ebbs again this morning at some foundation stuff, and
fantastic.
He met my kids. So we're getting the shirt back, all being well. Hopefully it's not gone lost in any celebrations, but it was very nice and special seeing that shirt sort of be part of such a big day today.
Fantastic. Tom, thanks so much for sharing that with us. Will you come back on at a later date next season if you have any other contact with Ebbs? And there was a few bits I nearly put in the comments. There was a few bits we were sort of told about over the last week from him, a few like little stories about what's happened and what hasn't happened in certain cases. And I was going to say, through that Wolves game, I think Wolves were effectively playing a stag party. So the fact we managed to win 4-2 is a miracle. So okay, well, tell him from us he's not going anywhere. All right, make sure he stays. If you have any influence,
I'll do my best.
Because I know that other big clubs are circling, and he is our talisman. We've got some other great players, of course, but he is the main man, isn't he? And the fact that he scored so many great goals this season, not least, the first one in the semi-final and the winning goal in the cup final, have just been fantastic. And they're not just any old goals; they're top quality goals.
I think what he got, I know you're going to talk about this, but I think, did he have 50% at the goal of the season? nominees today.
Yes, he did. Yeah, which
5
was
out of 10, I
ridiculous.
think.
I know, absolutely. And he didn't
Some
win it.
people don't think he's had a good season, apparently.
Yeah, and he didn't win it, which was a shame for him. But there we
Yeah.
are. There we go. Okay. You're welcome to stay with us, so you're welcome to go. It's entirely up to you. You know,
I'll stay for a few minutes.
You'll stay on with us. Okay, that's great. So today, the bus parade, we've seen some pictures already. Yasmin and Paul, you were there. Ferg, you were up there as well. Yas, tell us a little bit about your experiences today.
Yeah, so I got there just before 12. I thought I was there really early, and then I discovered loads of other people were there as well. So we had to sort of be quite patient and get through to where we wanted to meet Grant, our friend. So we had to do quite a lot of navigating around people, cross over the road and everything. But we got to, so when you saw the picture, the aerial picture where there was the Maxi Jazz wall, we were the other side of that. Yeah, that one. We were the other side of that. So we had lots of space. It was quite a good spot to get in, really. And we saw the players quite close up. We were waving at JP. He was a good laugh. And then because we were quite tactical, you see, we knew that because we had the pitch ticket things. So we knew we needed to go in the alpha weight. So that's partly why I thought that would be a good place to stand. Then we get straight into the turnstiles, which we did, collected our wristbands, and even managed to get something to eat, got soaked, and then we got ready for the party. I just felt personally I had to be there. I've been waiting to see us on a bus parade forever. And I thought no matter how, because I was a bit worried after that so-called lap of honour that I left on Tuesday. I thought if there's hangers on this bus, I'm not going to be happy. But no, it was just players and the coaches.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. The party was good, and the awards. But the player of the season, we could all see it on the card. Ollie Glasner was holding the card. The camera went right up to it, so we all knew who it was.
Oh no! What a spoiler! What a spoiler alert! Yeah,
I know, but we got right to the front. I mean, I had a really good experience. I know that it didn't quite work out that way for some other people, which is a real shame.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yes, I'm going to come to you in a minute, Ferg. But Paul, similar for you. You had a good day today.
Yeah, well, I was with Yaz, so we all did the same. We had our plan. We watched the bus go around. As soon as the bus was out of sight, we hightailed it into the ground and managed to get sort of right at the front of the pitch. We were just behind the rope, so right by the stage, which was great. But yeah, as I say, we our timing seemed to work, and we didn't mess about with things. So I think there were a lot of people. There was a release before the event, I think, saying by the Fanatics saying meet at the bottom of the Homesdale Road because the bus was going to stop there for a bit to do a bit of extra pictures and stuff. So I think thousands and thousands of people went down to the bottom of Homesdale Road, which obviously stopped people getting through to the ground, and obviously meant there was a huge backlog of people trying to get in. So I think there were issues with queuing and stuff like that.
Okay.
And some of the refreshments, but for me, yeah, we saw everything we wanted to see in a good view and had a great time.
Good. So let's come to Ferg then, because you were caught up in some of the crowds on Homesdale Road, and you didn't get in, did you?
I didn't know. Well, I gave up in the end, to be honest with you. I was at the White Horse Lane Park Road corner, but there was just hundreds and hundreds of people. The view was fairly restricted. I met David, who's in the chat. Hi, David. So I was stood with him for most of that, and then I had a ticket for the Homesdale and walked back round into the stand, into the stadium, past the fan zone. They walked us up to the gate. We all stood there for ages, and then they told us they weren't going to open the gates. We had to walk back all the way back round through the alleyway, back up to the Clifton. And by the time I got there, the queues were just mental all the way down the road. I just thought, and you could hear the music going, and the party had started. And I thought, by the time I get in, it'd be 40 minutes. Yeah, it'd be gone. So, I just turned around and went home, which was disappointing. But
that's a shame. That's a shame. And Phillips Von David is in the chat. Phillips Von David, nice to see you at Liverpool yesterday. And he says he's just got in. So I don't know whether just got in from today. So
He must have got in.
yeah, just got in. Tom, you were there as well.
Yeah, we were there today.
How was your day?
It was good. I mean, I didn't early start. I was not trying to keep name dropping him. I was at the Eze Foundation in the academy this morning. He was running a tournament for some South London football clubs. So I was helping that. So I was at Beckenham at 7:30. So I had 2 of my kids with me as well because they were desperate to meet him. And then on the way, I thought I gave myself plenty of time and got stuck behind the 2 buses. So we were caught in a lot of the traffic. But actually, I parked the other side of Norwood Junction. My wife found somewhere pretty decent to stand on the White Horse Lane. Which was spacious enough. I mean, it felt like we were waiting for ages, and then the rain started to come. But I actually thought, I mean, I know everyone's experience was slightly different where we were, apart from a little bit of overcrowding once the bus had gone past, and then a bit at the top of the Arthur and the lower Homesdale, sort of by entrance 3, where it was a bit of a nightmare and a bit of a shambles where people were just coming in different directions. Once we got past that, we actually got in the ground pretty quickly, and I was really impressed with the day. Actually, I thought it zipped along at a nice pace. I thought the awards were good. I thought the hosts were good. So my experience of the day was pretty positive.
Okay, that's good. Did you have your dad with you as well?
I didn't today. No, he was. I don't know. My mum wouldn't let him or something. They were running their charity day today. So
that's right. Yeah, because we were invited to that. We couldn't go to that either. So
I know. I showed my face afterwards. So
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so let's come on to the awards. Now, was it as you said? There was a spoiler alert. You said that you could see Oliver Glasner's card, so you knew that Daniel Munoz was Player of the Year before it was announced.
Yes. Quite a few of us did, and we were singing Munoz. But he also won the Players' Player of the Year.
He did.
And he was not keen to do a speech. He said his English wasn't good enough. But
it's not his first language, is it, for a start?
No, there's plenty good for us, for what he needed to say. I thought it was good. Paul.
And we'd embarrassed him by singing happy birthday to him.
Oh, yeah, it's his birthday today.
Was it really?
Yeah, we sang happy birthday, and it did embarrass him a bit. That was Phil Ward's fault. It was his idea. So
don't you think there's it just underlines that it was the right decision that he got Player of the Year when his fellow professionals also vote for him, and he got that vote as well. I think in some ways that's the more important of the two. If I was a player, that would be the one that I would feel, puff my chest out. I've won that. My fellow professionals think I'm the player of the season. Do you think that underlines the credibility, if you like, a little bit, Tim?
Definitely. For me, he was the player of the season. Not just the way he played, but how he so obviously gets what it means to play for Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
you see how much it means to him. So well deserved. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been a revelation down that right flank, hasn't he? Both offensively and defensively. I haven't got the stats in front of me. I should have, but I haven't. So if someone can help me out in the stats, how many goals and assists he's got, is it 6 and 8 or something like that? Paul, I'm sure you'll look it up and correct me later. But no, he's been brilliant, hasn't he? And in FPL, he's a shoo-in because, he gets points at both ends of the pitch. So absolutely fantastic. So Munoz got Player of the Year. Goal of the season went to Jean-Philippe Mateta for his goal off the substitutes bench at Arsenal away. Have we got a picture of that, Nige? No? Oh, there's his kicking the corner flag at the Emirates there. I was in the ground that day. What a goal that was. Absolutely fantastic to make it 2-2. Now, let me come to each of you in turn. Let's do it in reverse. Goal of the season, first of all. Let's do ladies first. Yaz, what's your goal of the season? Do you agree with everyone? Do you think it's JP, or have you got another one?
I've actually got another one because I think it was Eze's in the FA Cup final. How can you ever beat that goal for what it's meant to everybody? I mean, I love JP's, but yeah, FA Cup winning goal for me.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Paul?
As Yaz says, there's a FA Cup final goal should get a special award on its own. But my goal of the season actually probably was his goal in the semi-final. I think with everything that was at stake, the way it opened the game up and just the quality of the strike, I think that was probably my goal of the season.
Okay, Tim?
I'm going to go with Munoz's goal against Newcastle. I think it was a great header, but the importance of the goal, Glasner running up we had a bad start of the season. That was like 94th minute, Glasner running right up the side. The whole thing for me, that will always stick in my mind, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Good shout, mate. Yeah, good. What about you, Fergus?
Well, keeping with the FA Cup theme, I'm going to go quarter-final Fulham as his first goal.
Yeah.
Went in. Set us on our way, didn't it?
I thought that would get a mention. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Tom, I didn't give you a warning of this. Have you got a favourite goal of the season?
I mean, I was going to be cheeky and say the goal against Brentford in the first game of the season that got disallowed. But I think the semi-final one. I just think the whole technique, the power, the whip he got on it. I just think that's something else as a finish, personally.
Yeah. The one I'm going to go for is I mean, I think they're all great goals and there's arguments and for all of them. But I like Munoz's goal against Fulham away in the league when Jean-Philippe Mateta beat 2 or 3 people and he runs half the length of the pitch. He plays Munoz in and there's so many and JP had options left and right and that's what confused him, I think. And he gives the ball to Munoz and he sits his defender down almost where he fires the ball into the roof of the net to make it 2-0. Absolutely brilliant. Goal and so we've scored some great goals this season and very typically the goal was it Munoz that crossed for the semi-final goal? I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. Yeah, that goal, or was it Sarr? Was it? But Sarr or Munoz down the right flank to get the ball into the box and Eze on the end of it or Mateta on the end of it. It's just a trademark Crystal Palace goal this season. So fantastic. So what about our player of the season? Munoz gets it from the players and from the fans. But Yaz, I'm going to come to you. Who would you give it to?
Yeah, I gave it to Munoz.
You go to Munoz, yeah. Okay.
I just thought he was just unbelievable for the whole season.
Very good. Paul?
Well, I think I said in one of our chats recently, how nice is it that we have probably 5 or 6 contenders who genuinely had good shouts to be player of the season. I think Munoz is a very worthy winner, but as I said earlier, I think I probably would have given it to Eze. He's stepped up at the right time of the season with big goals, big performances at key moments, and ultimately won us a cup. So I think he would just edge it for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think. Yeah, Tim.
I'd go with Munoz, but I do want to give a shout for Lacroix. I mean, look, when Anderson left, look how we were all going, oh my God, we're losing Anderson, who's this Lacroix guy? And in a very short space of time, he's integral to the team now. So Munoz for me, but I think Lacroix has got to be close to it.
You gave Lacroix a shout out. Yeah, Fergus?
Oh, I'm going to have to go Remy Matthews. No, I'm only kidding. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Well, I have to go Munoz and all the TV pundits. Every single one of them. He was there right back when he was nailed on.
Yeah.
So, he's had an outstanding season. But like Paul said, there could have been 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Hughes as well. Hughes has had a great season.
Yeah. Tom, you going with everyone else?
I'm glad I'm not saying Ebbs for once on this call. For me, it was between Munoz, who's my boy's favourite player, so I was sort of going towards him, but Henderson and Hughes were the other two. I don't think Hughes has ever let us down, and if you think how he was probably seen as a player last season, 2 seasons ago, as a bit workmanlike, I think his improvement over the last year, how important and valuable he's been, considering the injuries we've had in midfield this season, and how important he's been, and I think the character he is. So I guess I'm talking myself in saying Hughes for me.
Yeah, very good. Okay, I'm with you, Paul. I think given these goals and the importance of them, I think he probably should have deserved it. But Munoz, obviously great shout. Very very encouraging to have so many candidates for player of the season. Really bodes well going forward, isn't it? So great day today. Some of you didn't have the best experience. This was a good moment, wasn't it? At the end, these are the 2 lads that were depicted on the TIFO. They're from the Merseyside area, and they're there with Doc Brown in the FA Cup. What a special moment for them. Did they get to speak at all, Yaz, today?
Yeah, they did actually, and it was quite emotional, I thought, really. Because then they did the Elvis song as well at the end. So, yeah, they did. I'm really pleased for them. As they said, something for them to tell their grandchildren.
Yeah, definitely. And Kelly Summers was there today, wasn't she, hosting things? I'm quite a big Kelly Summers fan. I like the FPL and all that, but yeah, she did a good job. And good to hear from Steve Parris as well and Oliver Glasner in their speeches today. So a good day. Remind us what time it all wrapped up. Yes, what time did it finish?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was like nearly 4 o'clock by the time I left. But I didn't say Jay Knox was still playing some music, but I was tired after Liverpool and stuff, so I just went there.
Yeah, totally. Good. Okay, great. Good stuff, guys. So great day. Most people enjoy themselves, and we've won the FA Cup. So it's a great thing to keep saying. We've won the FA Cup. I could keep saying it all day. Right, so it's been a good season. That's a bit of an understatement. It's been a great season, and probably exceeded all expectations. What did we think earlier in the season, Nigel? What were our predictions for points? I think you've got something there that we can have a look at. You're going to come on.
Come on. Good evening, everybody. This was the predictions for the last 3 matches. So we actually got 7 points. And we did actually get a couple of people spot on. Ian Noble, Yasmin, Graham Kitcher, Jill Chuagua, and Dawn Palace all predicted the 7 points. I've collated these figures for the whole season. And for the there's only 4 people that have actually managed to get in every round of votes. And they are Nick Philpott, Ian Noble, myself, and Fergus. So we actually scored 53 points, as we know, for the season. Nick, his head won't fit on the screen next time. Predicted 53. Exactly. His head would never fit on. You, Ian, predicted 68. I predicted 51, and Fergus predicted 54. So that they were the only people that sort of did all predictions. The very first show of the season, we asked people what they thought would get. I'll quickly run down a couple of them.
Go on.
Teresa said 3rd. Paul Bristow, below 3rd. Bruce Muirhead, 6th. Rob Cranfield, 6th with FA Cup. Ian Noble, 7th, and we qualify for Europe. Yasmin Broom, 8th. Joe Holyoke, 8th, and we win the FA Cup. Myself said 9th and 2 quarterfinals. Nick Philpott, 9th, and we win 1 cup final. And Tim said 10th, and after that, and Paul, I've got you on the list. You predicted 10th as well.
So did not anyone say 12th? Who said 12th? Someone must have said.
Nobody said 12th.
Oh, what? That's crazy.
So my prediction was only till half time on the last game of the season when we were 10th. So
very good. Anyway, if you ever said Europe, we qualify for Europe. So that's the main thing. So all good. Thanks for sharing all that, Nigel. Really interesting stuff. So yeah, we like to do this on the show. We like to have a little guess on how well we're going to do points wise for the next few games and the like. And the season as a whole is always interesting to look back on. For sure. We also did some other things going on, Nigel, didn't we, during the season?
Yeah. I'm sure you can talk us through this one. This is the Fantasy Premier League.
Yeah, so here we are. Red and Blue Review Fantasy League. We've got over 250 people in this league. And I managed to finish second. I didn't win it on 2,520 points. So I'm pretty pleased with that as it goes. Paul and Yaz, you play FPL. How many points do you get, Paul?
I got 2,375. So I'm not sure where that places on the
2,375,
table, but it's not bad for me.
Very good. And Yaz?
I did really badly. I got 2,198, summed up by my triple captain yesterday, who Dolly Watkins. He scored me 6 points.
Oh my goodness me! And Ferg, do you know how many points you got for the season?
I didn't do very well. No, I have no idea. I didn't do very well. And I did the same as Jazz, triple captain Isak.
Well, I know
6
I've got
points.
bragging rights here, guys, but yeah, so we'll do it all again next season. Paul, final word to you on this one.
The problem for Ferg's team is he had Remy Matthews in every week.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. That's true.
There we go. I think Ferg's got 3 teams, got 2 teams for 2 of his daughters as well, and he still didn't beat me, so 3 attempts, but there we go. And also we did Super 6, Nige.
Yes, we do. And that, no, not that one. That is the
there we go, Super 6. There we go.
Super 6. If you can't make that out, I shall read like the headlines that we've got.
Go on, then.
The winner is a guy called Scott Hawes. He actually came across and introduced himself to me when I was at the Doncaster match. So well done, Scott. Headline-wise, we've got Lucy Usher was 3rd, Lee Lockwood 7th, myself 10th.
Well done, Nigel.
Nick Philpott was 11th.
Oh, give us a shout out. Okay.
Tom Clark Samuel 21st. Fellow Northeasterner Rob Cranfield 24th.
Very good. Very good.
Paul Bristow 30th. Andrew Adams 35th. Fergus 37th. And Ian Noble 44th.
Yeah, I missed 10 game weeks. I counted them out. 10 game weeks I missed. Yeah.
One place above Paul Gear in 45th.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Nigel, very much indeed. Well done, Lucy Usher, for finishing 3rd. And well done to you, Nigel, as well. 10th is very respectable. Good stuff. We'll have a bit of Super 6, and it's always good to reflect on the successes of the season. So well done. Looking ahead to next season, of course, we have Europa League. We have another 7 fixtures between the beginning of the season and the end of January, because we don't play in the Carabao Cup 2nd round. We get a bye straight to the 3rd round. We've got 8 group fixtures in the Europa League. Those fixtures are announced on the 29th of August. Big day for us. Premier League fixtures on the 18th of June. Look out for that. And, of course, we've lost Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester. Nice little away games for all of us based in the southeast. We've gained Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland, much to Nigel's delight, because it means he's got 2 northeast games to go to. And Burnley, I met you at Burnley away once, and Leeds isn't too far either, is it, Nigel? So you'll be happy, chappy.
That's it. Leeds is only just over an hour away. So Sunderland's a 15-minute bus ride. So
there we go. I mean, after yesterday, my goodness, these trips they get harder and harder. But there we are. So we've got 3 right northern teams coming into the Premier League. And we'll wait to see when we play them. What's the price they're going to be all on a Tuesday night, like all the promoted sides were this year? They were all 3 of them away games, midweek fixtures for us, which is bizarre when you look back on it now as the season has closed. So, guys, it's been a great season. It's been a good show. We've gone past the hour mark. I want to thank Tom Meadowcroft. Oh, he's disappeared. I want to thank Tom for coming on and joining us this evening. I want to thank Paul, Yasmin, Tim and Ferg for joining us tonight, and Nick Philpott, of course, as well. Especially to you, Nigel. We couldn't do this without you, because you're the guy pressing the buttons, making us look great. We'll return for season 25-26. And a special thank you to Joel Ward for everything that he's done for Crystal Palace Football Club over 13 years. Good night, and have a great summer, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.